Hello again, and welcome. Nice to see you. I'm Hallie with Handmade by Hallie. Today's video is going to be how to make a centerpiece base and get it ready for any centerpiece that you would want to make. This will be good for any fall, any Christmas, in really any time of the year. So this is going to be a basic tutorial. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you can follow my page. We'll see you again soon. Our 3x3 square of styrofoam, some felt, and my hot glue gun. Then I'll also need a styrofoam cutter, a paper towel, and my scissors. So I'm going to start by taking my styrofoam cube that I get at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to slice this in half. And this tool comes in handy for doing a project like this. It really takes no time at all, makes a nice smooth cut, and really one of my favorite crafting tools to use. So you just press gently as you go through here. Sometimes you have to turn to go sideways to get all the way through. I do have the longer blade on my styrofoam cutter. Yeah, sometimes you got to make sure you get everything even. So after you have it cut, you're going to end up with two pieces. Now before I let this cool too much, I'm going to wipe off and clean my cutter. This helps keep from any smoke from burning any substances that are left on there. So I'm going to take my square, and this is about an 8x8 square of brown felt. You could use any color that you want to. And I'm going to place my styrofoam in the center and cut all the way up to the outer corners on both sides. After we have this done, we are going to use our hot glue gun and start gluing this brown felt square on here. And I usually start by putting the glue on my styrofoam and then putting the styrofoam in place where I want it to. I'd like to do this on my glass cutting board. This makes it easy to clean up any glue spillage. And I just continue to cover all of this square with the brown felt. On this second side, I did have to cut those slits just a little bit longer in order to fold up the felt to get it in the proper position. Then we just continue gluing and covering the entire piece. As we are wrapping this on here, you will find some excess that you can trim off as you go, or do it all at the end. It's your choice, whichever way you want to do your project. On the opposite ends, I start with doing the end and then wrapping the sides around. If you're sticking with me this long, this means you're enjoying my video. If you wouldn't mind doing those things, liking, subscribing, and even commenting, I would surely appreciate it. Drop me a note below, tell me what you liked about this video, what you didn't like, what you'd like to see me record and upload. Thank you so much. Next, I'm just going to finish trimming all of the excess. You could glue this over the edge if you wanted to. Either way, I prefer trimming it, but you do your craft the way you want to. That's the fun of crafting. After we get this all trimmed, I'm going to grab the second piece of the same brown color, and I'm going to cut a square to go on the bottom side. And I want this all to be covered for a couple purposes. Kind of blends it into our project. It also keeps the table surfaces safe from being scratched. So yeah, that's why we cover the whole thing. So I didn't quite cut this very neatly, as you will see when I pull this apart. Ended up having to grab my scissors and finish cutting it, and I had to trim it a bit to straighten it up. But get your square cut, get the back side covered with glue, cut off any excess that you have, just like the rest of it. So I did want to mention that this video is part 1 of 2. The next video I will include in the bio of this one so that you can find that video. This one will end up being a Christmas centerpiece. I hope you stick with me and watch that one. So as you get this last piece put on and get it all smoothed out, you may need to trim any of the excess that you have hanging out, just making it look the best that you possibly can. You won't really be able to see this very much, but at least you have the peace of mind knowing that you made it the best that you can. So the next part that I have is a garland with long pine needles, and what I'm doing is wrapping this around the styrofoam that we have just covered, and this will make the base for our centerpiece. So I've kind of wrapped this around and have a basic circle, and I'm going to take some big, they're not wire cutters, they're actually, it's a big like pliers for cutting pipe. It works great for this heavy duty wire that's in these garlands, and it takes a little muscle, but you cut right through this, and then you get rid of the extra piece that you don't need, just leaving you with the piece that you cut. So now all I'm doing is taking a couple of those long pine pieces and twisting them together, and that will close and hold it together in the design. And I did, I think, one on each side. Now the next part that I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and kind of arrange these pine stems where I want them to, making this look as nice as we can, and make sure that that brown styrofoam piece still fits in there. I did decide that I wanted to go ahead and connect the evergreen to the base. So I got out my little jewelry pins. They're a little bit smaller than your regular U pins. I think they're perfect for doing this kind of project. They're a lot smaller and they do have a really sharp end. So I just wrapped that pipe, half a pipe cleaner around the base of the garland, and I'm using a couple of those pins to hold those in, and then I will add some hot glue on there to make sure that they don't fall out. I did end up doing all 4 corners of this styrofoam piece that's in the center. I only show doing 2 now. I did actually end up doing the other 2 as I was finishing the design. The last thing that I decided I wanted to do, I decided that these pine stems were a little bit too long for my liking. So I just went through and folded them all in half. And this just made the design just look a little bit more, or a little less wild, a little more tame, if you want to call, you know, pine needles wild or tame. But I liked the look of folding all of those stems in half. And this will be ready for doing our centerpiece. So as I am finishing this up, I do want to mention that you can do this method with any kind of vine. You can do it with fall leaves. You can do it with any other kind of greenery as a base for a centerpiece.